Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Fly Like an Eagle podcast, where we will be previewing the Browns versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The worst team comes into the Lincoln Financial Field on 1 o'clock on Sunday. I'll actually be playing golf before watching the game, so I'll be super jacked, super pumped, whatever you want to call it. Sorry we couldn't do the show on Wednesday this week. I had a lot of things to do. Scotty was ready to go, but it was completely my fault. And I apologize for that. And I also apologize to the people out there that witnessed the Phillies lose like that. Awful. But at the end of the day, listen, we're here. We're ready to go. And this is where we get back on track because the Cleveland Browns are absolutely dreadful. Without further ado, what's up?
What's going on, Kyle? Yeah, it's been a little bit of a crazy week for sure. Obviously, with the Phillies losing, being in Philly was definitely somber. I know people they were kind of blindsided. I mean, we're not talking about the Phillies that much, but they were blindsided after how they won on Sunday. So yeah, just to go out like that real quick, it's like you blink and you're done if you don't show up. But hopefully the Eagles show up. Nice little segue there because they're coming off their bye week. They're getting their best players back in A.J. Brown and Lane Johnson, also Devonta Smith. I believe Britt Covey is still going to be out for a little bit longer.
Yeah, what did you call him? The crash test dummy?
I don't think I told him that.
Brittany Covey on the kickoffs, he would always just run into somebody.
Yeah, I mean, well, we were talking about Cooper DeJean. I don't even know. So I watched Eagle Eye podcast, and apparently Cooper DeJean is possibly going to be like the new slot corner, even as soon as Sunday. But I remember I texted you that he kind of looked like nervous with the punt returns. Now, I would not be wanting to do punt returns. That's fucking like anxiety city. And you got to catch that fucking ball. Or when we saw what happened in Tampa. So,
yeah.
What do you think about Cooper DeJean? We're obviously over Avonte Maddox, so anybody is better than Avonte at this point, right?
I mean, I like the fact that the kids are starting young. You're putting them right into the fire. Maybe I guess right into the fire. It's only 6 weeks into the season. But at the end of the day, he did have a couple of hiccups early on in his career already. So we have to let him develop the right way, in my opinion. But it's a good start by starting him against a team like the Cleveland Browns who can't move the ball on anybody. So, I mean, honestly, this is the perfect game to start him. Avonte Maddox is dreadful. He's absolutely terrible. In the offseason, I told you he sucks. And you're like, no, he doesn't. He helped us win a Super Bowl. I'm like, yeah, you'll say he sucks. So I'm glad that he's gone, and we're going to be much better in the secondary now. And I cannot wait to see it. Going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he could be average serviceable, but yeah, I mean, he got torn up in Green Bay, and obviously last week it was awful. So I agree. I think we all are ready to move on from Avonte Maddox. So obviously the Eagles, like we've been mentioning, they played the Cleveland Browns this week. All of a sudden, raise up your head. The Browns have become the worst team in the NFL.
It's awful.
Mostly due to their quarterback, Deshaun Watson. And obviously there's been a lot of talk about, do you bench him with that contract? What would you do if you were the Cleveland Browns franchise? It doesn't matter to us. We just need to get a fucking win and destroy them this week. We can't be worrying about another team. And this is, like you kind of said, the perfect get-right game, the perfect opportunity, just because we need to play well. Like, honestly, when's the last time we played? Like, when's the last time we had a dominating win? Like, I don't even think we had one last year.
No, it was the 2023 divisional round against the Giants. That's the last time.
Well, no, San Francisco.
It doesn't count because Brock Purdy got murdered. So, the fact that happened, we never really know what would have happened. But I'm going to say wire to wire, the best win we had was against the Giants in 2023.
Yeah, I would say best win, but the team still looked like a great team, right? Like they looked dominant, even though they didn't. You know
what? Fuck the 49ers. I agree with you.
So yeah, like I was telling you earlier, I'm ready for Jalen Hurts to go off. I want to see a three-score touchdown game, preferably passing, but we know they love the tush push with him. And I think people are forgetting Saquon Barkley this week because I think we're so focused on, A.J. Brown and Lane Johnson and et cetera coming back. But what really gives me confidence and hopeful and what is going to make this team dynamic as good is because you have one of the best wide receivers in the league and the best running back. Like, how could you not win when you have those two players? Like, you have to be pretty bad to not win.
Well, not only that, you have one of the best wide receivers, one of the best running backs, and one of the best ever wide receiver number twos. So the fact that A.J. Brown's going to get covered, Saquon Barkley's going to get loaded to the box on, you have Devonta Smith just sitting right there to get all of the catches. And we're in a good spot, honestly. Now, I understand we lost to the Buccaneers the way we did. I freaked out. I panicked. I was being a little bitch, understandably so. But at the end of the day, this same team that was healthy at the beginning of the season, we beat Green Bay in Brazil, neutral site. So this is kind of a new start. Now, if we show up on Sunday and we lose to the Browns, guys, I'm just going to tell you right now, we're going to be doing shows, but the season's over. If we lose to the Browns on Sunday, the season's over because they're the worst team in the National Football League. You cannot lose to the fucking Cleveland Browns and Mr. Massage. You just can't do it. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, the Browns are getting what they paid for, and that's not much because Deshaun Watson's a garbage human being, and we just got to boat race them. Now, they do have Jerry Jeudy, they have Amari Cooper, and they probably have Nick Chubb coming back this week. So
is Myles Garrett going to play?
Yeah, he's going to play, obviously. But it's interesting.
No, he's been hurt. He's been banged up, but I think he's been playing through the injury.
It's interesting, but if you don't have a quarterback throwing the ball to anybody or running a perfect offense, you got nothing. So whatever.
Yeah, and I don't think their offensive weapons are great. They're good. Like, they can't, take over a game. Now, obviously, I'm a huge fan of Nick Chubb. Had him in fantasy for years. But he's been injured the past couple seasons. So that's definitely hurt them, too.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, too, because in the fantasy league that you're in with me, you have the backup Jerome Ford. And when Nick Chubb comes back, you won't have anything.
No, I know, and I have no one else to start. I guess we will talk about Deshaun Watson a little bit because it's an interesting topic because I loved him. He was a top 3 quarterback for me, 2020, 2019. I mean, that was a while ago now. 4 years is 4 years. But do you think the off-field stuff just fucked him up psychologically?
Yeah, because when you get that much hate and you understand what you did was wrong and you did all that stuff that you're accused of and you got off of it for whatever reason, I think you feel shitty about yourself. And I'm sorry, guys. I know this is America. I know it's innocent until proven guilty. But when you have 87, I think it was, people coming out and saying you did the same exact thing to them, I'm pretty sure you did it. So
just like Diddy, right?
Yeah, I mean, P. Diddy was a little bit different, but that's another day. Yeah, he definitely did it. I'm glad we didn't sign him. And
just like Vince McMahon, right?
Yeah, that contract is fully guaranteed, so he gets every penny of that. So I don't think he's sweating. But yeah, he definitely can't play.
Yeah, if it was one girl, massage therapist, whatever, because you could think of unfortunately domestic violence, someone attacks their partner, and look at Greg Hardy. There's tons of examples, but fucking like you said, 87 people, and the news circuits and ESPN whatnot were they were talking about it for months on end, and it is a shame. Now he made his own bed. And the Browns are not a good franchise, but they were having a comeback, a resurgence. Finally, they were good. They went 11-5. They made the playoffs again last year. They drafted Baker Mayfield. They got obviously Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett. So they got talent and turned their franchise around from 0-16. I mean, they were just fucking dead in the water all time. Worst team ever. Honestly.
I just think it's hysterical how Baker Mayfield looked like trash at the end of his Browns tenure, and he looks really good with the Buccaneers.
I wouldn't say trash though.
Yeah, but
he was average in my opinion.
They couldn't wait to move on from him. They were like, "Can we just get anybody else? Let's bring back Tim Couch." They couldn't wait to get rid of him.
I think he was immature. Remember, he did 1 million commercials and he didn't even play a snap.
Yeah, but who cares? I mean, he destroyed us last week.
I'm saying I think that's why they didn't like him, because he was immature too.
But what's there to like in Cleveland? Do they just hate everything? The best thing they have in the city is a fucking casino. Jesus Christ.
The Parrot, remember that Parrot restaurant?
Oh my God. It was right next to the ballpark.
And Sheets shits, right?
Oh my
God. Yeah, they're not even called the Indians anymore. What's their name? I can't even
Guardians, because people are so PC today.
Well, that's like the stupidest name ever. Right? And honestly, they choose the worst names to replace those
Like,
racist names.
what's so
Commanders.
offensive about Indians? Now I understand Redskins. What's so offensive about Indians? Like I don't understand that. Like it just.
I'm not completely educated on it. I guess you like the word to say would be like Native Americans now. So I think that's just what it. I think that's what it is. But I kind of agree with you there. But like, I don't know. I guess it has like a bad context. But yeah. Like I'll go back to the Birds. It's like I think the biggest question marks, and I mean, again, the offense hopefully should be fixed, and we've seen Jalen Hurts up and down, mostly bad moments with the turnovers. And we're going to get into, more exact details of Jalen Hurts and the head coach, Nick Sirianni. I guess we can get into it now. So Jalen Hurts actually talked really good about Nick Sirianni on Wednesday, praising their relationship, praising him as a head coach, because he made that comment before the bye week where he said something like, we have our moments of like bringing the team together and like being leaders. But apparently this was like a huge switch up for him. And he actually was like smiling and laughing and like not just like a stone soldier. And people were saying like, was he told to say this? Like, I'm sure they had a conversation. I mean, that's what people say. I'm like, I fucking hate when I hear that. I'm like, they probably had a conversation. Why wouldn't the head coach and quarterback be not fucking talking to each other? And if they're not, that's not a recipe for winning. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree. 100%.
Like, so I hate when I hear that. Now, what do you think? Do you think that's just for show? Do you think that their backs are against the wall and they need to come together? Like, do you believe that they don't like each other? What are your opinions on that and him, saying good things about him?
I know that Nick Sirianni likes Jalen Hurts, but I don't know if Jalen Hurts likes Nick Sirianni. So I can't dig into his brain and try to figure it out. But by what I see outside of his thought process, by what I see about him, what he does on the field, I think he likes him. Now I'm not going to say he loves him, but they probably have some trials.
Did anyone love Bill Belichick? Hell no.
Right? No, but they won rings. That was all that mattered. And at the end of the day, it's like, if you don't like your coach, maybe you'll like him a little bit more if you're hosting that trophy at the end of the year, so 100%. It's like, that's why he puts up with him.
That's what Tom Brady said on the broadcast, right?
Yep.
So it's an interesting dynamic there. Now, is Nick Sirianni, again, we're not guaranteeing a wins, but like, how can we not guarantee a win? I
am.
Because the last two times that we did that against the Falcons and the Bucs, we were wrong.
No, we're gonna win.
The other two games we disagreed. Like you thought they would lose to the Packers, and I thought they would lose to the Saints, and they both ended up winning.
Mm-hmm.
But like the odds, it would just be so embarrassing. And wouldn't Nick Sirianni be on the hot seat if they lose this game?
Of course, because this is the worst team in the league. It doesn't get worse than that. If you lose to this team, you're done. Everyone's done, and you should just pack it up because there's no coming back from this if you lose to them. I mean, the New York Giants beat the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. So, I mean, you have to beat this team, because if you don't beat this team, you're going to get your asses ran out of the stadium by New York Giants the next week. And it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be pretty, because I've been talking smack about the Giants the whole offseason. They might not even have Malik Neighbors. So I'm just not ready for the season to be over after week 6. So I am guaranteeing a victory. They're going to smash the fucking shit out of the Cleveland Browns, and we're going to live to fight another day. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, they're 9.5-point favorites, the biggest favorite of the weekend. And of course, that has to do with the Browns being so bad. Now, before that, I was getting into the defense, because I think that's still the biggest question mark. Again, like I said, hopefully the offense is fixed with, our stars coming back. Now, number one, did we overreact to the Bucs loss? Like you said, we were being in the moment and we were emotional. And then, like I was telling you, and I have on our notes, the Eagles are still ranked 11. And they're like, that's pretty high after that Bucs loss. Now, they do have a good win over the Packers. The Saints have lost 3 straight after we knocked them down. I don't know. Like, what's the vibe of this team? Again, the defense scares me mostly because there's no pass rush, and Bryce Huff just looks like an idiot. I was watching some of his film, like he falls down on half of his snaps. Like, what is happening with him? I don't know if it's just not a good fit here. He's coming from, New York, New Jersey fucking Jets, so it's not like he's not used to a big media market and fans like on your ass.
Yeah.
And what do you think of this? I heard this week that someone asked him for an interview, and he said, "No, I got to go to practice." And then the reporter walked away, and then he pretended to like walk out of the locker room and then walked right back in.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. Like, I know it's gonna sound like kind of childish, but anytime I hear the word huff, I like think something's like something soft. It's like a huffy bike,
like Hufflepuff, like
Hufflepuff, like a huffy bike, just
Cream
anything. Yeah, it's like when we signed him, I just wasn't excited. You know how you're ready to like dive through a brick wall or run through a brick wall when you sign your favorite players.
Was that because he wasn't that well known? Like
I just wanted to go to sleep when we signed him.
Did you know about him before the signing like that?
No,
or no?
Not at all.
Yeah, same.
No, and they signed him for a shitload of money. Then I look up his stats, and he's a rotational player, and we're replacing him with Hassan. What the fuck? Can't talk today. We're replacing Hassan Reddick with this guy who's a rotational piece on the New York Jets. Like, didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, again, which I've said before on the show. Like you said, you don't really care what PFF thinks, but they had him at like the right behind. I think it was Myles Garrett. I don't know if it was Nick Bosa or I would think it was Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett. That he was like third in like rush per rate, getting to the quarterback, something along those lines. So like, I feel like Howie and them did their homework, but it's, again, every free agent signing is a mystery. We know that and better than anyone with Nnamdi Asomugha and Byron Maxwell and DeMarco Murray. The list goes on. But this guy is so young. He's getting paid top 20 defensive end money in the league. So that's concerning. And I don't even know if you just fucking cut him after this year. Like, I'm not saying I'm giving up completely, but if he doesn't do something this game, then yeah, because this is, if you can't get sacks against the Cleveland Browns, like, I'm sorry.
I'll save you one. He's not going to get a sack against the Cleveland Browns. So he's definitely going to fail you this time.
So they need to trade for a DN then.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would give away some of the assets to go get Max Crosby, honestly. That's what I would do.
Oh, my God, that's a dream. I mean, the Raiders are another dumpster fire. I mean, I was going to say that only Browns win is against the Raiders.
Yeah, that's insane. And I think they should give up Max Crosby to a team that's contending. They get some assets back, and everyone's happy. That's how I see it.
Now, they would definitely probably have to give up a first-round pick, at least.
No, I don't think so. I think they'd have to give up maybe a second, a fifth, and a player. So give them Huff. Have them take on some of his contract.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, give them Huff and then give them a couple of picks and then bring him in.
Now, how old is he? Almost 30, though?
Max Crosby, I think he's 28. I'll look it up right now.
So that might be in their favor to not give a first-round pick.
Yep. Well, you're never going to trade a first-round pick for anyone unless it's like a Hall of Fame player in their 25th year on Earth.
The Vikings traded us the first-round pick for Sam Bradford.
Yeah, they're fucking idiots.
I mean, if it's a superstar, but the age thing, like if he was 24 or 25, I would actually do a first-round pick. But I think they're going to ask for it.
Max Crosby just turned 27 in August.
Okay. I mean, I still think that they're going to ask for one. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't mean they'll get it.
Going back to the defense, like we mentioned at the top of the show, Cooper DeJean, 99% is taken over for Avonte Maddox in the slot. Also, I believe Nakobe Dean is on the injury report, which is, again, he's not been playing well. And then we're going to talk about here for a minute is Devin White, and you called this that he was just shot and done. Mm-hmm. But, like, would you not rather have him right now as depth or no?
Because here's the thing. Not only if you stink and you're washed at the NFL level, not only will you be non-productive, but you could potentially get hurt. So I think the Eagles coaches were realizing that, and they saw his effort that or non-effort that he was getting in practice, and they realized that, hey, we could have a murder on our hands if this guy plays on the field. So maybe that's why they just got rid of him, because they didn't want to deal with any lawsuits or insurance or anything like that. Because he clearly lost a step, he would have got ran over, and he probably would have ended up in a wheelchair the rest of his life. So that's
now the only thing that makes no sense is that he got. Sorry, my Alexa's going on. Happy Friday. That he was the starter in training camp. Like the first week or two, he took the first team snaps. Mm-hmm. So like they just didn't know he was shot. So that's just it was just a bad signing, basically. But like, should they have known he was shot, or you wouldn't know until he gets on the field?
They wouldn't know until they got him, because Devin White was actually really good a couple of years ago with Tampa Bay. But
he's not that old.
But you could fall off a mountain. You could fall off a freaking mountain and tumble down all the way to the bottom in 1 year. Look at Todd Gurley. He was an all-pro.
He was hurt too, right?
Yeah, look at Todd Gurley. He was an all-pro, and then the next year he was awful.
Yeah, that was, I guess they just ran him into the ground, basically. Kind of like Zeke Elliott now. Like,
DeMarco Murray.
He didn't do anything in that Pittsburgh game. Like, I was waiting for something, and of course, I'm just used to him, like, burning us, and yet we played him fine against – actually, I think he had an okay game in New England against us. Nothing to write home about. But
so if you guys didn't know this, we'll talk about this a little bit later. But if you guys didn't know this, Scotty is in my fantasy league now because he took over for the worst fantasy player of all time. And he picked up Ezekiel Elliott, and we have a group chat in fantasy. There were like people saying, why the fuck's he picking up Ezekiel Elliott? He doesn't do anything. I'm like, dude, just let him do his thing, And they were right.
No, I didn't even see that.
No, it was on a text chat.
Oh, well, thanks for talking shit.
But I wasn't talking shit. I was actually
not you. I'm just saying them. Well, even Cowboys fans thought that he should be like the goal line back. So that's where that came from. But clearly, with what's his name, just had a pretty good game.
Doe Whittle?
Yeah. So and I wanted to pick up what's his name? Jalen Tober. What the hell's his name?
Jalen Tober, yeah.
But he got scooped up real quick. And we'll see.
Yeah, keeper leagues are tough.
Yeah, for sure.
Do I think we beat the Browns? Yeah, I think it's a mortal lock.
We will say that again. If this isn't the easiest game of the year, like what is? I mean, even the Panthers are going to be more of a test now because they have Andy Dalton, and the Giants are like whatever, like not even okay to me still, but they're a football team.
So Eagles 0-1. I will not be in Philly for the game. I'm going to play golf in the morning and watch the game at a local bar, because I feel that whenever I go to games or I go anywhere near the stadium, I have a couple of cocktails, and by a couple I mean like 10 of them. So like that's one of the days there where I would rather just cleanse myself and not put anything in my body, because I think we'll beat the Browns regardless. Like I'm not going to be happy or mad either way what happens. If they lose, the season's over. If they win, I'm going to be like, yeah, like it's the fucking Browns. So it's one of those days where I'm just not going to be near Philly, and I'm going to watch it. Hopefully we win, and then we go to New York. But at the end of the day, I think Scotty's going to go to Xfinity if you want to bump into him. I won't be there, though, no.
Yeah, I'll be tailgating. I don't know what my tailgate, what lot it's in, but yeah, I'll be at Xfinity. And I agree with Kyle, but I also I think I want to see a good game. I want to see us a clean, dominant, all three sides of the ball, because like we were saying off air in the pre-show, we haven't seen a dominant Eagles win, and Kyle was saying the 49ers. So
I was actually saying the Giants, but you persuaded me to say 49ers.
Yeah, right. So not that would build so much it's going to build confidence for the actual fucking team and players and the organization, but not the fans. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and Eagles 0-1 said he's going to be at Eagles versus Commanders. I will be too. And that's actually going to be a good game in my opinion, for once.
Yeah, the only thing is it's on a Thursday night, but like look at Atlanta or New Orleans a couple weeks ago. That was a great game. So I guess teams obviously there was no defense played, but it was an exciting game. So Thursday night games seem to be getting a little better. And even last night, I mean, the
That's really
49ers
good.
had control of the whole game, basically. But
Yeah, I have George Kittle in my fantasy league, and he went off, so that was good.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah, Brock Purdy did go off.
Also, Sidney Brown. Still talking about the defense. He practiced this week. He's off the pump list. Honestly, I would say play him. Like, why the hell not? I still remember that pick 6 against the Cardinals in that dreadful game last year. And yeah, we need to get younger. Now, the only thing is they don't like to sub besides the defensive line. And I don't know if I really agree with that. Like, why not get fresh bodies in there, different looks, different packages? So I would love to see him, CJ, GJ, Reed Blankenship, whatever. Like, just give him some snaps, right?
Yeah, they just need a leader, and Slay's not it right now. He says, I'm taking Thursday and Friday off. Going to get hammered. Hey, nothing wrong with that. It's always a good time to get hammered, but the next day sucks, so you might need that day off. But I think this is now's the time to tell you guys, since we have enough people in here. So we're doing a new dynamic to the show where we do read off a lot of your comments, but if the comment doesn't really make any sense, or if it's politically based or movie based or whatever like that, we tend not to read it. We'll just look at it, but we won't read it. But here's the thing. I'm going to add a new dynamic right now. If you guys send us a super chat, and your comment makes no sense to the show whatsoever, it could be about anything, like no sense to the show, we'll read it, So we could be talking about Saquon Barkley running for a touchdown, and you could say, oh, I think Trump's the best guy on earth. I mean, we'll read it because you guys send money. So that's something we will do, and Scotty won't be happy about that. But
this is actually my idea. You got to give me some credit. And
I give you some credit. But
right.
Yes, if you guys send us money, we will read any comment that you give us if it's not football related. But other than that, nope.
Sorry, I'm going to add something. This was inspired by one of our viewers and commenters last week who we were getting into it a little bit with. So, yeah, if you want to pay us, give us some money, we will engage. And, me and Kyle are very authentic. We don't even really know how to be fake. We have, no filter. Yeah. Just because I feel like we don't have time or energy for that. So yeah, well, we're not going to read that one unless you give us a super chat.
Hey, listen, right? Eagles are one. If you send us a super chat, we would read that on air. But now
it has. What are we gonna do? At least wanting to know how much, like $1 minimum, $2 minimum, something like that, probably.
That is pretty funny though. Cowboys face. What's up, Nitro? I was wondering what happened to you. By now, found out. Yeah, I rebranded it. Because I turned it into the actual show, and that era of me is pretty much done. I'm 32 now, just turned 32. Happy birthday to me. It was more of a character that I did growing up from 18 to literally 31.
Oh, sorry, you're not authentic. No, I'm kidding.
No, I outgrew that character, and I thank everyone that tuned into my channel. But it's time to do something else. I'm a full-grown adult now, and I got to get serious. So that's that. Yeah, thank you so much, by the way. But back to the Eagles.
Yeah. Also, if you type in Nitro Freak in YouTube, obviously you still come up, and you guys can watch his old videos for nostalgic, right? If you want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So yeah, we talked about the defense, talked about the offense. I'm just super excited to see AJ Brown back. And also a comment about Lane Johnson. I think he's still very underappreciated by the fans and just the league in general because his record with us is actually 97-59-1. And when he doesn't play, we're 14-24. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty freaking good. The winning percentage when he plays is 6-1. And when he doesn't, it's 3-6-8. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just night and day. And also, like I was saying earlier, to have Saquon and AJ Brown, how could you not be a good team and win with those two in the lineup? How are you going to defend both of them at the same time? Hopefully, AJ Brown, fully recovered, fully healthy. And we know Saquon did not have that many carries last week. So he should be fresh too. And obviously getting Lane Johnson back to run behind that line.
Correct.
100%. So, state of the Eagles. Like, well, I guess. Do you think we're overreacting to the Bucks' loss?
Yeah, a little bit. I was overreacting more so because that was the birthday weekend that I was celebrating with my friends. And we were just at this Italian joint and we were eating pasta for whatever reason. And we had to watch a game for 3 hours just sitting at the bar at this Italian joint, and we were getting our ass kicked. We had nothing better to do, and it just sucked. So that post game, yeah, it came off as I was Mr. Doom and Gloom. But when you lose to a Tampa Bay team that's not as good as you, and you lose in that fashion, yeah, I mean you're gonna overreact.
Well, when you're down 24-0 and have 0 yards, like what the hell?
Yeah, you're gonna overreact. So I mean, yeah, it was a horrible loss. I don't want to play Tampa Bay ever again, and that's just how it is.
Now, I did think about something that I don't think anyone's talking about. Maybe somebody out there like Dan Sileo, because he loves to be controversial and just fucking talk shit about the Eagles.
Mm.
The Cowboys are playing with a lot of backups when they beat Pittsburgh. I'm just gonna say it right now, and I don't know. Like, you could say that their backups are like younger and like draft picks, and their running back and new wide receiver that they want to use, and probably going to be in the starting lineup somewhat. And we're playing like Paris Campbell. Now we did have Johnny Wilson out there, but besides that, we don't have any young defensive ends that we don't know about. Besides Hunt, which hopefully we see a little bit of him. I don't know why he hasn't been used more. I guess because he was just like a raw prospect. But like at this point, with your getting no pass rush, I'm just throwing everything against the wall and seeing what sticks at this point. No, what do you think about, Dak and, they made it work with their backups, and we saw what happened with us when we didn't have our star players.
I honestly,
we did still have CD Lamb, so we have to, he obviously had a lot of attention.
Right. No, I honestly, and I'm trying to do this shit. There you go. All right. So, getting back to what I was saying, what you were saying, do I think that win for the Dallas Cowboys the other night was a good win? Honestly, I fell asleep. I called that the mortal lock of the week. I thought that the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to destroy them, and they didn't. So I honestly feel I'm like 1-4 in mortal locks this year is pretty bad, but whatever. If you faded me, you'd win money. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think it really matters. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers, looking back on it, played a really sloppy game. And I'm not really taking anything away from it. It's a good win for the Dallas Cowboys. They stick in the division, and that's that.
I would agree. I think it was a good win for them, but, we're not going to overreact. You're beating Justin Fields at the end of the day. Now, do they have a good defense with TJ Watt? Yes, but defenses do not win Super Bowls anymore. It's been proved with the Chiefs defense. They come out of nowhere and they do well, but like they're not a top 10 defense. And we haven't even seen that in a long time. Look at us when we won the Super Bowl. How many fucking points and yards did we give up? Yep. So, but at the end of the day, everyone thought they were going to lose because Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence weren't playing. And Brandon Cooks, but he's nothing really special anymore. But it goes back to like Hurts. So basically, do you think that their backups are better than ours? Like, was that why?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we don't have any depth on this team.
Especially at wide receiver.
Yep.
Which is like, we saw when we had Jordan Matthews and whoever, Travis something, fucking Nelson Aguilar when he wasn't good, and Jalen Reagor, like you can't win.
Yeah, but remember for that 4-week span in 2020, we thought Travis Fulgham was the next Terrell Owens.
Yeah, because we didn't have a good receiver for so long before that. Like literally, what was it, 2015? We had Nelson Aguilar and Jordan Matthews as our starting.
Yeah, we celebrated them like they were the best things ever.
How did they win any games? Like seriously.
Sam Bradford's that accurate. You got to give him credit.
That's the only thing. That's like he's like a footnote in Eagles history, like so forgettable. Even though I was kind of a fan, but like you said. So state of the Eagles, what are your expectations now if they win? Let's say that they win, because I don't know, like do you think the Browns are going to get any offense? They have to at least score 14, I would think. I don't see us doing like a complete shutout or like 7 or 10 points. So let's say they win like 31-14. I know you said this isn't going to like affect you one way or the other. If they lose, it fucking will.
Yeah.
But like, what are your expectations? Because we know they have an easy slate after this game with the Giants, Bengals, and Jaguars. Like, do you still think this team's going to win the division, or like, what are your expectations?
So my expectations are pretty much this: you win the game in blowout fashion on Sunday, you're back in the division race. My new division winner up to this point is probably Washington. And that's not me like panicking over the fact that they finally have a quarterback and they finally have a head coach and they finally have a competent run offense with Eckler and Brian Robinson.
Don't forget about the owner.
Yeah, and the owner, Josh Harris. It's not all that. It's the fact that eventually teams have to get better, and they look great. They don't look good. They look great. And
do they
honestly,
have to get better though? Look at the Jaguars, Browns, Raiders. Are they getting any better?
Yeah, I understand all that, but like you just see something special there in DC. I understand that Jaden Daniels is a rookie, but at the end of the day, he looks poised, man. And I have to give him credit. He brought back Terry McLaurin. That guy looks like a stud again. And right now I have Washington as a division winner. I just do until the Eagles prove me otherwise.
I think that's a little bit of overreaction, but I get it with just, being blown out by Tampa. Now we're going to get into our picks, but they play Baltimore this week, and I'm predicting like they're going to be humbled. Like they're actually playing a good team. They beat the Browns, they beat the Cardinals, okay, they beat the Giants. Like, come on, they lost to the Bucs week 1. I think there's a chance where the Ravens are going to it might be a blowout. I'm literally saying it now. I think they're going to come back down to earth a little bit. Now, I will eat my humble pie if Jalen Daniels plays like he has been playing against the Ravens. Now, the Ravens did just give up a lot of points to the Bengals, and I'm also kind of biased because I just picked up Baltimore for my defense this week, so I'm trying to manifest it a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
Do you see that? Do you see that being a possibility? I mean, they're on the road. They're playing a good team.
No, I think the Commanders are going to win this week.
Wow.
I really do. I think the Baltimore Ravens are a good football team, but none of their games are convincing. None of them. And I think that Washington had 3 convincing games this year.
They killed the Bills. What are you talking about? They killed the Bills.
Oh, come on. We all knew that was coming. Let's be real. Like, you saw
picked
that
the Bills to win. You picked the Bills, or maybe you didn't.
I did pick the Bills, but we all saw that coming. Like, we knew that it was going to potentially
you picked
be.
The Bills. How did you see it coming?
We all knew that was going to potentially be a Ravens blowout. Like, everyone saw that coming.
Did not.
But like at the end of the day, you see the game. You see the Commanders' games. They killed the Browns. All right, they killed Arizona in Arizona. That's convincing. I'm sorry. I know it's just Arizona, but that's convincing. And this week they're going to kill the Ravens. So, I mean, I don't know.
They're going to kill the Ravens. They're going to kill the Ravens.
I think so.
This will be a field goal game if they win. But like I said, I think the Ravens are going to humble them, and it's not going to be necessarily that close. But
I just think the better team right now is Washington.
I guess, is that a hot take?
No, I just think Washington's the better team.
No, I'm saying if me predicting the Ravens to blow them out, is that a hot take?
No.
Because you're saying it's possible that like 50-50 or no?
Yeah, 50-50. I mean, I think it's going to be a blowout either way. Either they blow them out or Washington blows them out. I don't think it's going to be a close game.
Interesting. That's interesting for sure. Where would you have the Eagles ranked? We're going to get into our power rankings now. Like I said, NFL.com still has them at 11. Is that right where they should be? Too high, too low?
I actually agree with it. I'm not going to put them too low. I'm not going to put them too high. Based off of the talent that they have on the team, I'm going to put them at 11 as well. I agree with that.
I think it also goes to there's not a lot of good teams this year so far.
There never really is. Like there's always like 1 to 4 teams that have potential, and then the rest of everyone is just average, like every single year.
But if you have the Eagles and Cowboys at average right now, I mean those 2 teams have been good for the past 5 years. And also, you seem sold on these 2 teams. I'm not 100% sold yet with Minnesota and Washington. I mean, they're 2 of the top teams, but like it came out of nowhere. I still need to see more. And also, even when Minnesota went 13-4 that other year, They got beat by the Giants in the wild card. Now, are they better already than that team was? Maybe because they're winning more convincingly. So, but I don't trust those teams yet, even though Minnesota's 5-0, so they're going to be around with 5 wins already.
Oh, they're going to make the playoffs.
You have the Chiefs, who are the Chiefs, but haven't been playing, super dominant.
No.
Ravens, Bills, the Lions. There's not really anyone that stands out, especially in the AFC. They're kind of all jumbled together. Miami's down. They're done, obviously, without Tua. So it's like there's not really Houston, but I don't know. That's why you might say there's not as many good teams this year, and why the Eagles could be at 11 because, from the average pack, they do have a lot of talent. So I do agree with you.
Well, let's get into our top 5 power rankings for this week. Let's do it.
Awesome. I know you did share. You sent me a screenshot of mine from last week, but I pretty much remember. All right, so I'm going to start off. I guess I'll start off this week at number 5. Let me just see where. Did you send me a screenshot or did you?
I think I sent you a screenshot.
Alrighty. So I had the Bills at number 5 last week. Do I want to keep them there? Now, they got blown out by Houston, so I'm going to put the Texans as my number 5 team and knock the Bills out.
Fair enough. All right.
And you're updating this, right?
Yeah, I'm going to update it afterwards.
You're going to ask me what teams I have.
No, you said Houston Texans number 5. I got you.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll put that right now. Texans. Okay. So last week I had the San Francisco 49ers. This week, I agree with you. I go the Texans.
That was a bad loss for them.
Yep.
Well, obviously they just won, but that was a bad loss to Arizona.
No, I'm gonna go Texans.
We're a little bit off because usually Thursday night game doesn't happen yet. So number 4, I'm gonna keep this team. They were on a bye. I'm gonna keep the Lions at 4. I think that, like I was just saying, out of the crop, I mean, they're still one of the best teams.
So you had trying to get your record. So you still have the Lions number 4. Okay. All right, so for my number 4 last week, I had Kansas City. I am going to keep Kansas City right there at number 4.
What does Kansas City have to do to bump them up for you? I mean, they just brought back Smith-Schuster. I mean, they're like the Patriots, literally bringing in people. Patrick Mahomes makes them look good. Andy Reid, what do they got to do for you?
To me, power rankings are teams that are strong enough to where you know that they can win a Super Bowl. Based off of maybe winning recently, you would view that. But as I see what kind of position players they have on the field right now, I just don't think they're going to win back to back to back. I don't think so. I think there's better teams.
Well, what I forget is they were 11-6 last year. They were actually 9-6 at one point.
Right.
Which is kind of wild. And they lost to the Raiders.
Yeah, they snuck in, got good matchups. They had fucking negative 10-degree weather against the Miami Dolphins.
They beat the Bills. They beat the Bills and they beat the Ravens. They beat everybody. They had to. So
if you put the Dolphins in regular weather and not polar bear weather, I think that was a better game.
I mean, they beat the Dolphins in London earlier in the year or wherever they played.
Yep.
So,
okay. So number 4 is Kansas City. So how about number 3 for you?
Number 3 for me, I am actually going to move the Vikings down to number 3 because they could have lost that game to Aaron Rodgers, and we're going to talk about Robert Saleh getting fired. So, yes, they won, but if they're this juggernaut and the best team in the league, they should have probably beaten the Jets and a coach that just got fired a little more convincingly. Now, they did have 3 picks off Aaron Rodgers, but that was more bad Aaron Rodgers to me
Yeah,
than good.
yeah, but you're talking like the Jets defense is some scrap heap on defense. They have 2 of the best cornerbacks in the league. They have Sauce Gardner and they have Reed.
They just fired their head coach.
It doesn't. Yeah, he's a defensive mind. He's not good on offense, but the defense is fine. The reason why the Vikings couldn't do much last week is because the Jets defense is awesome. So I'm gonna take that with a grain of salt for that one.
I don't know. I feel like yes,
I have
the
them in
Jets.
fantasy. I have them in fantasy. They got 10 plus points every single week.
No, I'm not saying they're not a good defense, but are the Jets a good team?
I don't know. I'm not sure yet.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of rare for an interim head coach. I mean, we saw what's his name on the Raiders. They didn't make the playoffs, but they stayed afloat, and there was some good moments, like they beat the Chiefs. But it's I don't know. I mean, unless Aaron Rodgers really becomes somewhat Aaron Rodgers of the past.
Mhm.
But I was also hearing, people definitely hate on Aaron Rodgers for a lot of reasons now, and he's not that likable anymore like he used to be, and he only has 1 ring. And for him to be like shrined and like worshipped, Patrick Mahomes has how many rings now? 3. So it's like there's really no comparison. Patrick Mahomes is better than Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers is he the best, one of the best of all time statistically, and he's made amazing moments throughout the years and won that 1 Super Bowl, beat Pittsburgh, yes. But like, I don't know. Is he overrated? He won the MVP back to back just a few years ago. You said no.
No. Nope.
So what is it then? Are people hating, or like is he
I
just
just
not?
think-
Is he just old now?
Well, you have to view it like this. Most of his career, he had Mike McCarthy as his head coach. Mike McCarthy's an awful head coach. I don't care what anybody says.
I mean, he wins games.
He got Matt LaFleur when Matt LaFleur was brand new. Now he's switched to Robert Saleh, one of the worst head coaches I've ever seen in my life. So I'm not going to say he's overrated. I'm just going to say he's been put in really bad situations, and he's actually thrived in those situations, being how good he was. And he'll never win because he always has a bad coach. That's just how I see it. You have Patrick Mahomes having Andy Reid, 22 years, successful Andy Reid as head coach. And
I think Matt LaFleur is a good coach.
He's all right. He always has a good quarterback.
Yeah, but no one really knew that Jordan Love was going to be, good. I think he made Jordan Love good, or at least definitely contributed 100%.
All right, fair enough.
And they just won with freaking Malik Willis, 2
Yep.
games. What the hell? That's good coaching, I would say, right?
Or Malik Willis is better than we thought. But who's your number 3 in the power rankings?
So I just said my number 3 is the Vikings.
Okay, cool. Number 3 for me is the 49ers. I'll explain why.
Well, I think because they just beat Seattle too.
No, it's not just because they beat Seattle. I'm thinking more
down
the
Arizona. They lost.
I'm thinking it doesn't matter. I'm thinking more down the road here. All right. So George Kittle is the best tight end in football, easily. Deebo Samuel's an absolute stud. They're getting McCaffrey. I learned just now. They're getting him back in the first week of November. They have a great backup in Jordan Mason. They have studs all across the board. They're probably going to get back to the playoffs with ease. They might not get the number 1 seed this year because the Vikings are that good. But if they rematch the Vikings, I think that would be a really crazy toss-up of a game. I'm going to put the Niners number 3.
So you don't have the Lions in your top 5?
No, I do.
Oh, you had them at 4. You had the same as me.
No, I have the Lions at number 2.
Oh, shit. Wait, I'm confused. The 49ers are what? I thought they were your number 2.
Number 3.
Oh, okay. Sorry to give a spoiler. Number 2 for me, and I feel like I'm, the biggest Ravens fan, but yeah, I have Baltimore at number 2. They, the Bengals backs were against the wall last week. I think that they were a popular pick to win. And they won in overtime. They blew out the Bills. They beat an okay team in Dallas. They should have beat Kansas City week 1, and then that Raiders loss was bad. But yeah, I'm very sold on them. I think that they're going to beat Washington, which people are obviously high on Washington right now. But yeah, I think that this team has all the pieces. Everyone thought Derrick Henry was shot. Let's just be honest. I don't think that anyone was really expecting him to be King Henry.
Yeah,
and he's been a beast.
Yeah, except my friend who picked him in fantasy said, "Why did everyone pass on him? He's so good." I'm like, "Fucking shut up."
Yeah, so they definitely hit there. And then you have Lamar Jackson, who's just one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
I don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he's a dynamic athlete. I don't think he's a great quarterback.
I don't know. I think that's dynamic athlete means good quarterback today.
No, it doesn't. But hey, nor here nor there.
So you don't have the Ravens in your top 5?
No, not yet. All right, number 2 for me, I'm going to go the Detroit Lions. I think the Detroit Lions are really balanced with the running game at David Montgomery and Jamar Gibbs. Amon-Ra St. Brown, obviously. Jameson Williams is flourishing now. Sam Laporta. They have a really good head coach. They have a stud on defense, Hutchinson from Michigan. They have decent cornerbacks. I'm going to put them at number 2 because they deserve it.
And then obviously new change at number 1 for me. It's going to be Kansas City, reigning champs, beat the Saints on Monday night. They just win. Like, I don't think there's just no denying it. Yes, and the injuries are piling up now, majorly at wide receiver. They're just picking up people off crack heap or unknown on their depth chart, and they're still winning. And there's still so much room for Travis Kelce to go off. Is he just an older player or like losing a step? I wouldn't say that, but obviously he hasn't been, the Travis Kelce that we know. And yeah, I just think I don't want to say the Taylor Swift dynamic or anything has to do with that, but this team is so popular. They have, they're a dynasty at this point, and they're going to be there in the end. So until they at least actually lose a game, they're still going to be my number 1 until they lose a game. Okay.
And number 1 for me is obviously the Minnesota Vikings. Top to bottom, they're balanced between the roster. They have a great head coach. Sam Darnold, he had a little bit of a shaky game last game, but again, that's because the Jets defense is dynamic. And they have Addison, Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, who's a little bit shaken up, understandably so. Very balanced on offense and defense. And until they lose, they have my number 1 spot.
Interesting for sure. Where do you have Washington if you had to just like spitball it? Were they in the top 10?
I would have Washington, I'm looking right now, probably 6.
Wow.
Right on the outside, yeah.
Again, I think that these teams, is Sam Darnold like going to be in the NFC Championship? I can't picture it right now.
Case Keenum was.
That team had a lot of talent, though.
So this one has more talent.
Smith, Stephon Diggs. I don't. It should be interesting. And even Dalvin Cook was good then. I think he was on that 2017.
Yeah, he was.
So yeah, we'll see. Any other team that's just interesting to you that you want to talk or touch on before we get into our picks? Actually, let's talk about the Jets and Robert Saleh, because obviously that was hot news this week. Okay. Should he have been fired after 5 games? Sorry, I'll let you go into it.
Absolutely. I thought Robert Saleh, after his first year, should have been canned. The guy is nothing more than a meathead. Now, granted, you could take that as a negative or a positive. I'm putting it as both. Meathead as in he's dumb as meat when it comes to the brain. But he does lift a lot, so he's like one of those athletic gym-type people that could kick my ass. But he's not as smart as even me, and I'm not a football coach. So he's one of those stupid people that can lift well, and he should have never been a head coach. And, yeah, he should have been fired a long time ago.
Now, he was good in San Fran for sure. But again, that defense has so much talent, but we can't, hold that against him. I mean, you can say the same thing about Dan Quinn in Seattle.
He's a defensive guy. You know, he knows how to hit people, and he doesn't know an offense. That's the thing.
Now, that worked for Bill Belichick. Of course, no one's Bill Belichick. Pete
Bill
Carroll was.
Well, all right. So here's the thing. Since you brought up Big Bill B, so Bill B always was a great defensive mastermind. He has 8 Super Bowl rings in total, but he got blessed with the best quarterback of all time. So I mean, you have to take it for what it is. Yes, he was great on offense, but he didn't need to do much because the offense was simple down because he had a guy that threw to the sticks, and he always made special teamers look great at wide receiver because they would run to the sticks and catch the ball. If Edelman didn't have Tom Brady, he wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. So that's just how I view it.
Wait, you think Edelman's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, more than likely, yeah.
I don't see that, but
I mean,
that would be surprising.
If Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer, Julian Edelman's a Hall of Famer.
Bro, stop it.
I'm just saying.
Eli beat the greatest of all time twice.
Eli Manning stunk. Eli Manning was fucking awful other than those Super Bowls. He should not be in the Hall of Fame at all.
Who should Nick Foles be in?
If Eli Manning's in there, Nick Foles should be in there.
Stop.
Because they did the same fucking thing.
And I'm sorry. I'm not saying he's the best of all time or a great quarterback, but he was good and he beat them twice. And he did do it. We can't act like it wasn't.
He didn't beat them twice. The defense beat them twice. Nick Foles actually beat Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. He went back and forth with them.
Well,
yeah, I'm looking at Julian Edelman's stats. I mean, he was all right. It wasn't anything.
Eli beat San Francisco and Colin Kaepernick to get there.
No, actually, no. Kyle Williams fumbled the ball and set him up in field goal range for them to win that game. You're not going to win with me on this one.
Wasn't it like 38-35, something like that?
It was an overtime, and he fumbled the ball for them to win. San Fran would have won that game.
Okay, but Eli put up 38 against.
I don't think he put up 38.
Okay, well, he put up 30, whatever the hell you want to say. And against that, then that was a Patrick Willis San Francisco defense.
It was. You're right on that.
I'm not here to defend Eli, but 2 Super Bowls against the greatest.
Like you're defending him.
Well, he's a Hall of Famer.
No, he's not.
How are you going to not put in a 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback?
Easily. You just don't. You say sayonara, thanks for the rings, bitch, but you're not getting in.
You're not. I mean, people that have been not as deserving already. So,
I mean, does LaShawn McCoy get in because he has 2 Super Bowl rings? I mean,
bro, he didn't even play in the games.
I'm just saying.
You're going off the rail. You're going off the rails now.
I'm just saying.
Let's get back to the Jets. Let's get back to the Jets and Robert Saleh. Do I think he should have been fired? I think it's a little bit premature just because of what their record was. And again, they could have won that Jets game. And ultimately, he was in charge of the defense, and the defense was good, but he was not a good leader of men, culture setter since day one. Honestly, I will agree with that. And obviously, him and Rodgers possibly didn't mix. Now we know that Woody Johnson and Aaron Rodgers was on Pat McAfee's podcast, said he has nothing to do with it. And then he put out that, he said on the show, people think I have more power than I do, which we know isn't really true because he brought in all of his friends and offensive coordinator to the team. So did Aaron Rodgers, was he the one behind this? Does he have that much say?
No, he didn't do anything.
So you think it was just all the owner?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. Do you think they'll make the playoffs? Is Rodgers done after this year? Or is this kind of like just a failure? Or you think it's going to turn around?
I think it's going to turn around because when you have a new head coach, you start winning out of nowhere. It doesn't matter if the head coach is good or not. Everyone plays up for their new guy, and they just win based off that. So I'm actually going to say that they're going to make the playoffs.
It's definitely possible. Hell, even the Panthers played up for Andy Dalton. So, any change, I guess, even though it didn't work for us last year with The thing with the Eagles, they should have fucking fired Sean Desai and not kept him on the staff because that's just awkward as hell. So that
And
was,
Matt Patricia was somehow worse. Like I don't understand that.
but I think that they were listening to both of these people and trying to do both schemes, which is just asinine. So
Yeah, pretty much.
all right, we're gonna move on to our picks now.
Let's do it.
Obviously, the game last night, we both picked San Francisco to win.
Mhm.
Moving on to Sunday, we have another London game, Jags Bears, and I really think the Jags, they won last week to finally get a win. Bears had a very impressive showing last week, I would say,
Mhm.
but I am taking the Jags because they are the London home team, of course, even though I don't think they're technically playing at home. I'm not 100%. I don't know whose home game this counts for. I think it would count for them, but I'm not sure because they have the Bears in like the typical away column here. But yeah, I'm taking the Jags in somewhat of an upset. I just think that they're used to playing in London, or they fucking should be. And they need a win. And I don't see the Bears having a 4-2 record. That just looks weird to me.
I'm gonna take the Bears. I don't think the Jags are all that good, so give me the Bears.
All right, and I'm going to update our picks. Also, guys, I did finally update our picks before. Very, very close. I am 41 and 38, and Kyle is 40 and 39. So like we could not be more neck and neck through 5 weeks. It's kind of crazy.
Sweet, good job.
Now I do am 3 and 2 of my locks, and as Kyle said, he not doing too well at 1 and 4, but
Nah, yeah.
we'll try and break that streak for sure. All right, so Scott, Jags, Kyle, Bears. Cool. Our next game, again, we kind of already talked about this. Washington at Baltimore. I think Washington gets humbled and comes back down to earth a bit, and I'm taking Baltimore at home.
All right, I'm gonna take Washington on the road. I think they're too hot right now. Jaden Daniels has that city thriving, and I think it continues. Not saying that the Ravens are bad, but right now there's just an aura about the Washington Commanders. Like they're back, they have new owners, a rookie that looks great, and they have everything going for them. So give me the Commanders against the Ravens in an upset.
Next, we have the Cardinals at the Packers. Of course, the Cardinals traveling east, West Coast team for a 1:00 game. Give me Green Bay, even though the Cardinals are feisty and had a good win last week, unexpected, against San Francisco, and that was my lock of the week, so I was wrong there. That was surprising to me, for sure. But I think the Packers are going to put some wins together here, another week of Jordan Love being back a little bit healthier. So, yeah, I'm taking Green Bay.
I'll take Green Bay as well. Jordan Love is a stud, and like you said, the Cardinals, they were feisty last week, but at the same time, I still don't think they're that good of a team. Green Bay's at home, and they have to put some wins together, obviously, so I'm going to take Green Bay.
All right, next game, Houston over the Pats, right?
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Nah, I'm taking Houston. Give me Houston.
Next game, the two teams that we have played, we did our NFC South tour besides the Panthers. Now, both of these teams need a win because it's been a bit, but if you remember, the Bucs lost to the Falcons in that shootout. I mean, they played well. They did have some miscues why they lost. Obviously, their defense and the special teams missing that kick, which came back to bite them for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the Saints, they've kind of fallen apart since we beat them, and they started off so hot. So that was a little bit of and with Derek Carr the injury now, and they're starting to, I'm taking Tampa. Forgot about they have a new quarterback.
Right. So I'm going to take Tampa as well. They've had 11 days for this game to prep, and it's against divisional opponent, which they're really banged up right now. All they really have is Alvin Kamara. So, yeah, give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Moving right along, obviously the Eagles game this week, we are both taking Philly. clearly. I really hate this division. I hate these such boring teams to me.
Yeah.
Colts at Titans. I'm actually gonna give this win to the Titans just because they're at home.
No Jonathan Taylor, no party. I agree with you. Give me the Titans.
Chargers at Broncos getting into the 4:00 games. Denver had made a resurgence since looking dreadful beginning of the year. Chargers are kind of an average team, haven't really done much of note with Jim Harbaugh, which it's weird. Like I don't hear anything about this team and Jim Harbaugh when he was like a big story in the offseason. It's in Denver. Chargers really kind of need to win, in my opinion. And how good are the Broncos? This game's kind of tough for me. It's in Denver. I'm gonna take. Oh God, I'm gonna take the LA Chargers.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm taking the Chargers as well.
And why? Why do you agree?
I think at the end of the day, the Chargers have a better quarterback, not a better coach. I just feel like it's one of those divisional games where they know each other. Jim Harbaugh, going back to his time with San Francisco 49ers, even though it's a completely different conference, he's just in a rhythm now to where I feel like he has them playing good, inspired LA Chargers football. They have J.K. Dobbins, who's an absolute monster. I think this is a game where Justin Herbert has one for the ages, and they beat the Broncos.
Next game, Steelers at Raiders. This kind of has a little bit of a trap game feeling, and we did see the Raiders beat the Ravens, and that was at Baltimore, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But what's up?
Yeah, I agree. That's why I won't rank the Ravens in my top 5 just yet, because I don't believe in them.
So this would be a bad Steelers loss, and it's not like they shouldn't have won last week. Like you said, they made a lot of mistakes, so I'm going to take Pittsburgh.
You're taking Pittsburgh? All right. So I have to go ahead of Scotty at one point in the other. So I'm going to take the Raiders this week just because I like drama and I live for it. It's fun. And I think since Russell Wilson's activated and he's the number 2, it's going to have a QB controversy next week. So give me the Raiders.
Next game, Falcons-Panthers. Falcons are pretty hot right now with Kirk Cousins. Obviously, they've had a lot of time to rest as well since last Thursday. This should be a Falcons win. And, Atlanta's – they're kind of getting into top 5 territory, possibly. I still don't think they're like a world beater, but yeah, Kirk Cousins seems to be on fire right now.
Yeah, this will be a nice Falcons win. Give me the Falcons.
Probably the game of the week so far, I would say, because you say Washington, Baltimore should be fun. Mm-hmm. Detroit at Dallas. Obviously, this is a rematch of last year when Detroit should have won in overtime and they got screwed. I think Detroit is a lot better of a team than Dallas this year. Dallas is at home, and they're historically, I remember when they beat Detroit in that playoff game. Was it being once or twice? I can't remember, but I am going to pick Detroit.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with Detroit as well.
Surprisingly, this is our Sunday night game. Bengals at Giants. Obviously, everyone thought the Bengals would have a better record right now. But like Joe Burrow said last week, we're not a championship team right now. And it's like, are they even a good team? They played the Ravens really, really well. They should take care of the Giants because if they don't, their season's dead. And it's really hard to come back from 1-4. Like it's because if you win 3 games, you're just at 500. So they have a big. Look, they had the same record as the Panthers up there. It's pretty wild. The Bengals, they just have to win. Now, we saw Washington beat them, but Washington is better than the Giants. We've discovered. I'm taking 60.
All right, this is my mortal lock of the week. The Bengals are going to win this game.
Awesome. I like that pick. And then Monday night, Bills Jets. Obviously, the Jets firing Robert Saleh. Josh Allen kind of suffered not a concussion because he went back into the game. I just got notification that they followed all the protocols. And he should be playing this week if he went back into that game. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Bills to win.
Okay. I'm going to take the New York Jets, and this is why, because they just fired their head coach. Like we said before, they play up for their new head coach, and Aaron Rodgers to start the season has never been this bad before. I think the last time he was this on pace to be this bad was the year where it was his final year in Green Bay. So I'm going to take the New York Jets. I think since it's a divisional game, it ties them for first in the division, and they're back on track. So give me the Jets.
All right, so you said your mortal lock of the week was Cincy over New York. And mine will be, give me Atlanta. I want to keep winning. I want to keep my my lock as a street. I'll just take an easy one. I say that and then they'll fucking lose.
They'll probably lose, yeah.
I'm taking the Falcons. We probably should start doing we can't use a previous team that we used before.
Like a suicide pool, yeah.
Yeah, but obviously I don't know if we've done that yet. But we can talk about it. We can start. So those are our week 6 picks. Obviously, a lot of teams are on the buys have started. We are ready for 13 weeks straight of Eagles football, and we've never. I don't know when the last time we had this early of a bye. I'm sure we did at some point in our lifetimes, but this is going to be interesting. Us 13 weeks straight because we're not used to, not having a bye later in the season. So get ready. It's going to be Eagles every single week from now until January and hopefully into January and possibly February. Like I said, I think we're going to win against the Browns 31-14. What is your score prediction?
I got this game as 31-14 Birds.
Who is your star of the game? And then I would say who needs to step up the most? My star of the game has to be A.J. Brown. That dude has to be so fucking hungry. Hasn't played since Green Bay in Brazil, and that was obviously, feels like forever ago. It was a month ago. So A.J. Brown for me. And then I think the player that needs to step up and just look like a fucking leader and good quarterback is Jalen Hurts. So A.J. and Jalen Hurts for me.
So my star of the game is actually going to be Jalen Hurts this week because I feel like he has everything in front of him. He's going to make the right throws against this horrendous Browns defense, and they're going to make it happen.
And then your player that needs to be most improved.
Player that needs to be most improved, in my opinion, it's got to be CJ. He's got to step up. We're paying him a lot of money. And I feel like he has what it takes to do it, but that Tampa Bay game was god-awful. So he has to be better, and I think he will be. This is a start.
Awesome. Do you have anything else to wrap up the show?
No, not at all. This is an easy week this week, very easy to predict. And if the Eagles lose, like we said, it's not going to look good. And I'll be really heated, so that might be one for the ages to watch on Sunday. But
yeah, I don't see – it would be a double week of embarrassment, but this would honestly be lost in the Phillies' loss. I'm not obviously I don't care about the Phillies at all, like baseball, but hopefully Philly doesn't have a double whammy. And there's just would this be we just lost to the Cardinals and Giants last year, but would this be more of a shock loss than that, or what do you remember a game that was more shocking of a loss that you could compare it to if it is, unfortunately?
More shocking of a loss. So, to me, the last shocking loss, it was a long time ago. I'm going to say 2011. So, it was right before Vince Young went up to the Meadowlands and beat them on Sunday night. We lost to John Skelton and the Arizona Cardinals. I thought we were going to win that game, and that's the last one that really shocked me. But no, as an Eagles fan, I've been used to heartbreak, and yeah, this one,
like the Cardinals game was up there for you though last year or no?
Cardinals game last year. No, not really, because I didn't even watch it.
That's funny. That was both to the Cardinals, like our two like shocking games.
It was New Year's Eve last year, so I wasn't really watching it. So I mean, I guess I was
New
shocked
Year's
at the end of
Day.
the result, but
New Year's
yeah,
Day.
no, it was New Year's
but
Eve. It's New Year's Eve.
I thought it was New Year's. I'm pretty sure it was New Year's Day. I mean,
Nope, it was New Year's Eve because I had to go to New York.
We'll have to fact check. We'll talk about that after the show. But
I'm all facts. But but no, at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, I'm not really shocked as a Philadelphia sports fan. Obviously, my one baseball team's still in it that isn't a Philadelphia team, and I do feel kind of bad for the Phillies fans that do watch because, you know, their spirits were uplifted after that Game 2 victory, and then got swept in New York. So it happens. Hopefully, I could bring my win.
Do you remember when they had that bad streak? Did they lose like 12 games in a row or 15? What the hell was it? Like,
No, they didn't lose 12 games in a row. They lost a lot out of a lot, though. Like
something like that. And it's like a good baseball team. It's different than football. Like they don't lose to bad teams like that or have that losing.
Yeah, no, they started the season 41-19, and they only won like 94 games. So they went on a cliff run for sure.
But do you think the fans are like were in denial? That's my
yes, because they wanted to win so badly that they believed they were better than what they actually were. But the Phillies were a pedestrian team the whole year. And they ended up winning the division because the teams behind them sucked so bad for a majority of the year that beginning stretch was just it was good enough. And now you saw the Mets beat them and it exposed them.
Absolutely. 100%. Well, guys, I have this new fucking schedule back here. I don't know if you can read it, but it says 2-2. So hopefully that'll be 3-2 after Sunday.
Definitely. Again, great show. We cannot wait to see you guys on Sunday. Now, my reaction video, our reaction post game might come at like 5:15 because I have to get home. But we will be doing a reaction like after the game, so that should be fun. And hopefully it's a win, you know. So
absolutely. All right, guys, hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy Sunday. Like I said, 13 weeks straight of Eagles football. We'll be here every week and every post game. Go Birds, and I guess I'll say go Yankees.
Yeah. All right, guys, go Birds. See you guys on Sunday.